Welcome back to the deep dive. So, for our journey today, we're not starting in a lab. We're not, looking at a spreadsheet.
No, not at all.
We're actually going somewhere, well, a bit more lush.
Yeah.
Deep in the humid, tropical regions of the Americas.
Right.
And our subject is one of those traditional remedies that has just vaulted onto the global wellness stage. It's called Graviola extract.
And it brings with it, a ton of scientific curiosity, but also some really necessary caution. When you look at the supplement world, there's just so much noise.
So much.
And Graviola, which you might also know as soursop, it generates more noise than most. So our mission today is to cut through all that.
A marketing copy.
Exactly. We need to define the facts, understand what this extract actually is, why indigenous cultures used it for centuries, and, most importantly, what the current science actually says.
And where those critical caveats are.
And where the critical caveats lie, yes.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're talking about the Annona muricata tree, native to Central and South America. And if you were walking through these regions, you'd spot the fruit pretty much immediately. It's large, kind of heart-shaped, and this very distinctive green with soft, spiky skin.
It's a real visual spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And while the inside of the fruit, that creamy white flesh, is fantastic in juices and desserts.
Oh, it's delicious, sweet and tangy.
It is. But the Graviola extract that has drawn all this research attention, well, it isn't really focused on the fruit pulp at all.
That's a really crucial distinction because I think most people only know the edible part.
Precisely. The research interest is primarily in the leaves, the stem, and the seeds of the plant.
Okay.
These parts are chemically very distinct from the fruit, and they have these high concentrations of compounds that, well, that's what pharmacologists are now scrutinizing all over the world.
So if the science is focused on the leaves and the seeds, where did they even get the idea to look there? It seems a bit strange that this plant has only hit the mainstream recently when the tree itself has, been around forever.
What's fascinating here is just how long this knowledge has existed. Indigenous communities, particularly in the Amazonian and Caribbean regions,
Right.
they've been using Graviola preparations in their traditional medicine for centuries. This was long, long before it ever became a health food store fixture.
So what were they using it for traditionally?
It was a very broad spectrum remedy. Different cultures use different parts, the leaves, seeds, bark for all sorts of things.
Like what?
Things like supporting digestive health, calming nerves, and really importantly, as a kind of general tonic for overall well-being. That traditional recognition, the idea that it could support the body against internal invaders, that's what guided the early modern researchers.
So they weren't starting from scratch.
Not at all. They were essentially trying to validate millennia of folk knowledge.
That deep root in traditional knowledge so often provides the signal, but of course modern science demands specificity. And when we look at why Graviola extract has so much buzz today, it nearly always comes down to two big categories. The general supportive qualities and then the much more, contentious, high-stakes claims. Let's start with that baseline support.
Sure. The plant is just packed with phytochemicals, things like alkaloids, tannins, flavonoids, and these compounds contribute to the first major claim,
Which is?
that Graviola extract is a powerful source of antioxidants. And we know antioxidants are essential for neutralizing unstable molecules in the body, which can cause cellular damage over time.
Right, and we don't need to go deep on what an antioxidant is, but what makes Graviola's antioxidant profile, say, unique compared to just popping a vitamin C supplement?
It's the sheer breadth of the compounds. It's not just one specific molecule doing the heavy lifting. It's the synergistic effect of all these natural chemicals that provides this broad support.
Okay.
Early studies suggest this whole phytochemical makeup may help support healthy cellular function, healthy metabolic processes. It's probably why users often report a sense of improved vitality. It's supporting the underlying biology.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this general supportive role, well, it leads directly into the claims about immune and general wellness.
Oh, exactly. Given its traditional use and chemical makeup, it's totally understandable why people link the extract to supporting immune function. Some in vitro studies...
So, in a petri dish.
Yes, in a petri dish. Those studies have explored potential antibacterial and antiviral properties of these compounds. The idea is that they help the body maintain its internal balance and resilience, assisting the immune system.
So far, this all sounds pretty similar to a lot of other potent herbal extracts we see.
It does.
But what pushes Graviola into this whole different stratosphere of interest is the claim that has just captivated everyone: the potential anti-cancer properties. This is the big one.
This is where the deep dive truly begins. And it's where that critical caution becomes, well, non-negotiable. The specific chemical compounds responsible for this are a class called annonaceous acetogenins.
Okay, say that again.
Annonaceous acetogenins, or AGs for short.
AGs. Got it.
That is-
It is a mouthful. What makes those specific compounds so compelling in a research setting?
Well, AGs are thought to work by interfering with energy production inside of cells, specifically in the mitochondria.
The cellular powerhouses.
Exactly. And preliminary lab and animal studies, and I have to stress preliminary, have shown that certain AGs can selectively inhibit the growth of some types of malignant cells.
And in some cases, even induce apoptosis. Programmed cell death.
Yes, in some cases. And the key concept there, the thing that makes this research so exciting, is that idea of selective targeting.
That does sound incredible, but this is exactly where that expert caution needs to be front and center. If these compounds look so promising in a lab, why isn't this a standard medical treatment yet? What's the hurdle?
This raises an important question about the huge distinction between initial lab findings and a validated medical treatment. The hurdle is immense. First, as you said, lab studies are in a petri dish. They're conducted in isolation. The results don't automatically translate to a complex human body. Second, AGs are very potent chemicals. The high concentrations that are effective in a lab can also be toxic to healthy cells.
So a very narrow therapeutic window.
Right.
The line between effective and toxic is very, very fine.
Precisely. We need extensive, high-quality, peer-reviewed human clinical trials. You have to validate the efficacy, establish safe dosing, and fully understand the long-term toxicity. Until all of that research is done, Graviola extract cannot and should not be considered a proven treatment for any serious medical condition.
It remains a fascinating subject of research.
A fascinating subject of research, not a curative agent. That is the single most important caveat for you to take away.
Absolutely essential clarity there. So moving on to practical application, but for general wellness support. Assuming someone has consulted a healthcare professional and decided to try this, how do they use it safely?
For general wellness, it's actually quite straightforward to incorporate. It's most commonly found in two forms, capsules and teas.
Okay.
Capsules are just convenient for a measured daily supplement routine. The leaf teas, on the other hand, offer a different experience, more of a soothing evening consumption, where those traditional calming properties are often cited.
And what about safety and sourcing? Because unlike a pharmaceutical drug, these supplements aren't standardized. How can you ensure you're getting a quality product and not taking unnecessary risks?
That is the greatest challenge with herbal supplements. The concentration of those critical AG compounds can vary wildly. It depends on when it was harvested, what part of the plant was used, the processing method.
So it's a bit of a Wild West.
It can be. So the priority has to be choosing a reputable source, one that provides third-party testing for purity and for consistency. When you're buying, look for assurances of standardization if you can find them.
And what about side effects? Are there any known issues people should be actively monitoring for beyond, say, a basic digestive upset?
Yes, and this is a major safety point. It comes from epidemiological studies, particularly in regions where Graviola is consumed a lot.
Right.
Overconsumption, especially of preparations made from the seeds and stems, has been linked to potential neurological issues.
What kind of issues?
Specifically, some research suggests a connection between high long-term consumption and a condition that resembles atypical Parkinsonism. This is due to certain alkaloids that can be neurotoxic at high levels.
Wow. That is vital information. That really shifts the discussion from just efficacy to, well, serious safety management. So sticking to the dosage isn't just about avoiding a tummy ache.
Not at all. It's about protecting your neurological health. We cannot emphasize this enough. Adhere strictly to the recommended dosages on the labels. And if you are using a traditional tea, you need to understand the concentration you're consuming.
And as always, consult a specialist if you have any existing conditions.
Absolutely, especially any existing neurological conditions. This is a topic you must review thoroughly with your doctor.
So let's circle back quickly to ease of use. While finding the fresh fruit might mean a trip to a specialty market, the availability of extracts, if you source them correctly, makes it a viable option for supporting general health, even if you live far from the tropics.
It really does. It allows the benefits of that traditional knowledge to cross continents, but at the same time, it imposes the responsibility of safe, informed consumption on the user. It's a powerful plant.
And power requires respect.
Respect and measured use, yes.
So what does this all mean? We've unpacked Graviola extract. We focus on the really sophisticated chemistry of the Annona muricata tree, especially those annonaceous acetogenins that are driving the modern interest.
Mm-hmm.
It has a rich history of use for general wellness, for antioxidant support, but we've also really stressed the critical need for caution around those high-profile anti-cancer claims.
Yes, those are currently confined to preliminary research. They are nowhere near being considered a treatment. They need extensive clinical validation.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the story of Graviola is, well, it's a profound reminder, isn't it, of the vast, untapped pharmacological potential that's just waiting in the world's plants.
It is. It encourages us to consider how many other traditional remedies are out there, in global biodiversity hotspots, currently fueling local wellness, but yet to be fully explored or validated by global science.
It's a huge challenge.
It is. The challenge isn't just to find new compounds, it's to bridge that gap between traditional wisdom and modern scientific understanding, and to do it safely, ethically, and responsibly. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and, always stay critically curious about the origins of your wellness.